Hi, everyone. It's Deborah Hamilton. It's good if you unmute yourself while you're the webinar leader. It always is so much more helpful. How is everyone today? I see our core group is back as well, and I'm so grateful. And I see some new faces, so that's wonderful. What we do here today is we check in with each other, see how we're doing on making our MAP plan, and also sort of address the things that have come up for us. And what I really feel is a blessing for this program on the MAP plan during COVID is what all my community members find that teach me something, which has always been the greatest gift to me. So that's why there are so many links. If you guys open your chat, there's so many links there because over the week, it's been sort of a palapalooza of Deborah Hamilton being published here, here, and here. So I've been thrilled, and it's not mine, so that's really great. Only the Why Do Pets Matter podcast is mine. So if you want to go there, there is some great, and it's free. There are some great interviews with veterinarians, with attorneys, with animal behaviorists, with veterinarians who tell us why we need pet insurance. And isn't that part of the MAP plan as well? Because we have to do pet insurance and make sure that carries on. God, there's so much to get to. But before, of course, I do that, I want to check in with everyone. So let's start with Deb. This is great to see you here again. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm afraid you'd be worrying that I croaked.
Well, it is a little bit of a moment. And if you hadn't come this week, I probably would have sent you a little email and said, by the way, are you okay? Because we're here for you. I know that I share with everyone else here that really deep-seated community that we have here. So how's everything going? Are you getting some of the documents put together, some of the...
I've got them all put together. I've emailed them to the pertinent people. I've got a list on my refrigerator. I've got a copy in my car. I feel like I'm doing really well with this.
You are 2 thumbs up. Oh my God. So for those of you who are new, I see Sherry is new, and I think I just met her through a mutual friend of ours. So the MAP plan stands for something, and everyone else will bear with me as I let Sherry know what it stands for. It stands for Make a Plan, M. Address the needs of your pet, which means, do they like thunderstorms? What do they eat? Do they get along with each other? So many things, all of their vet records. This is really all important for someone to know if something happens to you. The other A stands for appointing caregivers. Those are the people who are going to come in and care for your dog so they don't go to a shelter. Because none of us recognize that if EMS comes and picks us up off the floor, God forbid, they call animal care and control, and they take your dogs because they don't know what to do with them. They have no idea. They can't leave the dogs alone in the house. So we have this, chore that we do, that we love to do, which is put up information that's easy to be seen on your refrigerator, on your back door. Not just that I have 3 dogs. No, not enough. But that I have 3 dogs. And if something happens to me and these 3 dogs need to go somewhere, here are the 3, right, Deb? There are 3 names that you're going to call in the event I can't take care of my dogs. So that's the address, appoint caregivers, and then the P is publish it. So not only has Deb and Diane and Connie put it up on the refrigerator or on the back door or in their car if they're driving, but they've also given it to their veterinarian. They've also given it to their attorneys, and they've given it to the caregivers. So redundancy is my middle name. That's why I love that these ladies keep coming back, because I do repeat myself every weekend, because it is every Wednesday, because it is so important to make sure the people you want to care for your pet know about the people who want to care for your pet, or you want them to care for your pet, because if they can't get there, they know. So to use Deb as an example, if she had appointed Diane and Diane said, God, I can't get there right now, but I know she also appointed Connie, and Connie's closer, let me call her. So this is the kind of program that I've put together. So everything else good? The dogs are good, Deb?
Everybody's well, yep.
Absolutely. Is it warm where you are?
It's muggy today, yes.
Yeah, it's going to be thunderstorming, and tonight I have 3 intercontinental Zooms I have to do, and I'm sitting there going, oh, they're not going to work, but I'll try. Oh. It's going to be thunder and lightning here in New York, so I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So now I'm going to go to Diane. Diane, how are you? How's everything going? How's forced retirement? Did I not unmute everyone? I think I did. There we go. Go ahead, Diane. I think you're unmuted. You're not working.
Hang on.
There you go. Now
Okay.
you're working.
And now we hear you.
You can hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yes.
Hang on, I can hear me now too. It's very loud. Sorry. I think that's better.
Much better.
It's hot as hell. We've been having record-breaking heat, and now we have a curfew in addition to record-breaking heat, which makes it very difficult to train dogs because you can't train them in the day. You have to train them in the evening, but you can't go anywhere to train them in the evening because we have a curfew.
I know, it's just one thing after another, right? If it's not COVID, it's,
So yeah, we got 1 week worth of evening class in, and we're going to try at 7 a.m. tomorrow, because dogs are hot and cranky and they want something to do. And since I am forcibly retired at the moment, I can do 7 a.m. if I can get up, which is my nature, but we're going to try it tomorrow. And I've learned that, you'll like this, Deb, dealing with the government is quite a challenge.
yes.
I had I was very fortunate and blessed. I had a wonderful young man answered the phone when I called with my question about unemployment and completed the whole application for me and got everything approved in like 24 hours. And I was like, oh my gosh, hoo-ha, why is everybody saying this is so difficult? Until I started to try the pandemic forms. And
You didn't find that same young man.
I know, I as a matter of fact, I find a queue that is full 24/7 right now. So
It's frustrating.
That's a bit of a challenge. But since I have nowhere to go, I can keep trying it, I guess.
Well, good. How's the plan coming? How's the plan coming?
Plan is coming pretty good. Actually, after last week, I typed up a whole 3-page thing about each of the dogs and, their peculiarities, their veterinary needs, what they get in the way of like their monthly medications, and who does what, where, how, who was bred by whom, who will take care of whom. And my 3 people, 2 of them are at obedience class tonight or tomorrow morning now, actually. So 2 of them I can get their signatures right away. And the other one is my vet, who's my very dear friend, who we're still waiting for her to get unbusy from COVID to get out here for a visit because being a house practice vet, she hasn't had a day off since March.
Oh, I know. I just got to see my vet, and it was, I just waited patiently until she was able to do it. We were due for yearlies. I'm sure you all know. You have to get yearlies, the heartworm and everything, and mine was in April. However, that wasn't happening. So we just got it last week. So everybody's good to go, thank God. So I'm glad you're with us, Diane. Now, Connie, how's it going out in California? So for everyone's edification, Diane is in Arizona. That's why she's dying with the heat. And Connie is in California. And Deb, you're in?
Upstate New York.
Upstate. So you have it much nicer than I'm going to have it today. But you're going to have the thunderstorms too. So there you go.
We had some this morning.
Yeah, we did too.
Goodness. Well, I'm in Metro LA. I'm in Rancho Palos Verdes down by Long Beach.
You're locked down pretty quick.
Yes, and we're by the ocean, so our weather is very temperate. Sorry, Diane, but I have lots of good Wheaton friends in the Palm Springs area who are sweating with you, and Wheaton friends in Phoenix too.
Yeah,
but you've got riots. We don't have riots right now.
She's going to take the heat right now, Connie. She's going to take the heat over the riots like we have here in New York.
We do. So, excuse me, I just need to take this call.
So, Sherry, while Connie takes the call, do you want to join us and let us know if you have any pets and if you want to share with us?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Yep.
Let me see if I can turn on this camera too.
Oh,
Okay.
look at you. What a lovely wall. I love that wall.
Thank you. Yeah, nice to meet you and to be here joining you. I have one dog. We're upstate New York also
Oh,
here
great.
today.
Great.
Yeah.
And you've been safe during COVID. This meeting actually started probably about 2 weeks into our experiences with COVID, because I felt that the community of pet owners were reading in the newspaper that nobody was doing anything to plan for the care of their dogs, and some people were leaving just because they felt sick and then never came home. So we put this together so that everyone here, and there's a roving crowd of about 10 or 15 that come and go, that help us make better plans for our pets. So I'm so glad you're here to hear about it at the very least.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And so the top thing I always say to new arrivals is, if you have all of your plans in your will, you have to die, and God forbid that happen. So you need to make a plan that comes to life and springs to life. If you're injured, it's like the 60s: divorce, delay, disease, disability, and dementia. So you need something that's going to come into fruition that everybody knows about if you just simply get sick, or injured, not if you, and I can tell you one of the articles here has to do with divorce, and the MAP plan is such a beautiful document that you don't know you're making it when you're making it, but you're setting up how to share the pet going forward, especially if you're in a relationship or in a marriage that breaks up. Who gets the dog? That's one of the biggest things in my office. Who gets the dog? So it really is an important document to have and to make when you're not angry with each other. So I know that we all here have discussed that before, but I wanted to share that with you, Sherry. So I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Okay,
Maybe
Connie, you back?
Sorry, actually, that was my BFF, who is in the Palm Springs area, a 30-year Wheaton and Sealyham Terrier breeder. Oh my God. You think any terriers are crazy? Sealy's really are. But at any rate, I invited her to join, and she's been so tied up with her business in LA during the riots that she totally forgot. But I will get her to join next week, because she
absolutely. Whenever you come aboard, it's one day closer to getting that paperwork done.
Exactly. And she and I have been talking about this a lot, because both our husbands went down at the same time. She lost her husband to bladder cancer 2 years ago after a long, horrible illness.
Yeah.
And so now she's saddled with the family business, and they're in the fire protection business during all the looting and the craziness. And so, she's been very preoccupied with that. But at any rate, and her business is up in LA. It's in the San Fernando Valley. So at any rate, we have had, as I mentioned, I'm in South LA County. I am right across the Port of LA from Long Beach. I can see the port from our backyard. And over the weekend, Sunday into Monday, when all the looting was going on in Long Beach, it moved very quickly down there. And the protests, by the way, during the day have been totally peaceful. In fact, the police, the LAPD, have even been joining in, as I'm sure you've been seeing on CNN and MSNBC. But the Long Beach has a long and awful history between the African American community and the LBPD. And so everything kind of erupted when the sun went down, and the protesters went home and the looters came out. And so Sunday evening, I took my dogs into the backyard for their final call. And as I do, because we have critters coming up from the canyon like coyotes. So, I always go out with them. So I was hearing fireworks that were like, not just the 4th of July, it was like Apocalypse Now. And the fireworks were being used by the looters against the police. And then I heard just an incredible armada of police sirens that were probably going from the harbor station of the LAPD here down by the port over the bridge to help the LBPD. And so my dogs got terrified, especially Bammy, my 10-year-old, who's the grandma of my 3 Wheatons. She has always been terrified of fireworks since she was a baby.
And add sirens onto that, right?
Exactly. In fact, she came home a week after, or a week before 4th of July, and she was 12 weeks old. And so for 3 days after that first 4th of July, she wouldn't go in the backyard. So she was absolutely terrified. She finally did her thing, and I got her in. The other two were barking and carrying on. I got them in the house, but all of them have been really clingy ever since. And Monday night was bad too, although not as bad. Last night was quiet, which was good. But yesterday morning at 7 o'clock, when I went out to get the LA Times from the driveway, I saw an LA Sheriff's Department cruiser turning right in front of my house. I live on a cul-de-sac, and doing his circuit, and he was going up the street to patrol the neighborhood. Because the word on, I guess it was Monday afternoon, after there were demonstrations in the San Fernando Valley, the word was that the looters were going to go into the more affluent neighborhoods and start hitting residences.
Yeah. So, this is such a great story you're sharing with us, because here we are, all of us have, some of us have one or two dogs. Some of us have a multitude of dogs, because that's the kind of people we are. And how do we get out of harm's way? So it is always a question. If it isn't you that is ill or in need of assistance, if you need to get somewhere to get out of harm's way, because we were talking, or we will be talking, because we haven't had time because we've been talking about COVID. Last year, I was talking on this webinar about fires in California and in Colorado and in Utah. You go to work in the morning and it's, 25 miles over the hill. And then
I have been there before I retired. I used to check. I worked in aerospace. I was 20 minutes from the house, right south of LAX. And during fire season, I was a nervous wreck. And I would be checking the LA Times website 3 times a day to make sure there wasn't a fire in our area.
And that's so important.
Arizona's the same way, and they have a fire hotline.
New York State, we have hurricanes on Long Island that we have to worry about. Superstorm Sandy, that was a fun experience to live through. But really, people didn't, and I mean, we can talk about Katrina, we can talk about all of the hurricanes where the animals were left. And I said so gently and kindly at the time, if there is a way that you can take your pets with you, after Katrina, I think, because I started this program in 2014, and I think that was before Katrina. I don't remember because I can't remember my own birthday, thankfully. But it just is an important piece to put into your MAP plan, not just to, make a plan and appoint other people, but also appoint other people who you can go to. Because if Deb's up in New York State, I could likely, if we were really good friends and she liked Irish setters, I could go to her house if the hurricane was coming to my house. That's what this community hopefully will be able to make us do. And it grows to a point where we all know that things happen. And that's why I wanted to bring up the riots, not because I want to get political on anybody, because I don't, but the riots with respect to your pets, because the noise, the sirens, and I don't care, we all know this, our pets pick up on our concern.
Oh, you bet.
I mean, if you're watching television and you're, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, right? Your dogs pick up and they are on you like, ugly on an ape, as my dad used to say, because they really don't understand. They don't really know what they're saying on the TV, but they know their mother or father is reacting in a way that, makes them have angst, and they're trying to calm you, and they're great to be there because every article in the New York Times and the New York Post, probably in the Arizona Times and the LA Times, pets have really served us immensely during COVID. The shelters all emptied. However, now we have to figure out how to help them, A, adjust to us leaving again, and B, with this new emotional upheaval, how do we take care of ourselves? Because they're going to take care of us, right? They always do. But how are we going to take care of ourselves and them?
Well, let me just say that I always have at least 2 crates in the car. I have all 3 crates in the car now, and they have their collars and tags on them all the time anyway, because we live in a high fire area. But I have all 3 leashes on the floor of the back seat of the car.
Yeah.
And we are ready to go if we've got to get out of here. In fact, I have the car staged just like it were fire season.
Yep. So does everybody else have that? Because I know my husband does not like my Chevy Safari van with the Dutch doors, which I've had forever. It's a 2005, and he says, "I'd like you to get you a new one." I said, "No, this is small enough to get out. It's not going to ever be too tall, and it's going to be." It has enough room for all of my dogs, because that was always the criteria of the car in my driveway.
Yep.
That it put, okay, so who here has had 2 or 3 dogs ride together in a crate if it was an emergency? I mean, I have. Some of my dogs get along really well, and I can put 2
Right.
Irish setters in a big crate.
Well, I've had 3 on the back seat of my car if we need to get out. I
You bet.
mean,
You bet.
Yep.
because they all but 2 get along, and I've never before had ones that didn't get along, but I do have 2. But they ride fine side by side, and they each get along with everybody else. So
Perfect.
if need be, you just throw them all in the car.
So
Yep.
I'd like all of you, if you can, there's a little 3 dots next to the chat. If you want to save the links so that you can look at those articles in that podcast by Dr. Kim Kahodik. She has a great podcast called Time for Pause, P-A-W-S, or A Time to Pause. It's a veterinarian skewed podcast, but great information there, not just my podcast, but other podcasts. And then, of course, you can always go to Why Do Pets Matter? I do want to...
Is anybody else seeing those 3 dots? Because I am not, Deb.
No, I don't see them.
You go down to the bottom of the chat, and where there should be a blank spot where you can type in a message. It should say "to everyone," and then it says "type message here." If you look in the right upper corner of that little box, you'll see 3 dots, and you click on it and it says "save chat," and
Right.
it'll save it automatically to your hard drive.
I don't-
Okay, now I see the 3 dots.
Yeah, so click on it, Diane.
Okay, and now I see save chat, but there's nothing in my chat.
Well, Deborah posted something at the top,
I don't.
right at 9 o'clock
I don't see it.
Pacific time.
No, don't see it.
I don't either.
Guess if you
Oh,
weren't.
oh, there's 3 dots.
Now I lost the whole thing, Connie. Hang on.
No.
You can tell I've been Zooming a lot.
I still haven't figured it out.
Well, I Zoom. I used to Zoom for work when I had a job, but
Right.
I'm still not. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah. But
I'm just-
we'll scroll up. There should be, Deborah posted a note. It says at the very top.
There's a thing that says if you're not seeing the links, they will be sent out with a recording
Right,
of the
but
call
above
via email.
that, Deborah posted a note.
Okay, I probably wasn't on then, so I can't get that chat.
Okay, because I jumped on right at 9 o'clock.
Right, and I got on like at 9:02 or something.
Okay,
so-
okay, that may be.
Got it.
I'm
Sorry,
back.
That was confusing.
Sorry, I'm back.
Yay!
Sorry, the Pleasantville. I love Pleasantville. I love Pleasantville so much, which is where I live now, because the internet is not necessarily great. But anyway, so while I was gone, did we all help Diane find the 3 dots?
Yes.
Yay,
And Rose,
Connie, thank
Rose
you.
posted too. Rose posted a helpful note.
Oh, great. Thank you, Rose. So also Mark is on. So Mark, chime in. Thank you for being here. If you'd like to. You don't have to.
Hi,
I think-
Deborah. This is Francesca. I've been trying to figure out. Sorry, I'm late. I tried to figure out this Zoom thing. Sorry, everybody. Didn't mean to interrupt. Just want to let you know I'm here.
Oh, no, this is wonderful. Francesca, tell us a little bit about yourself and what dogs you have, because we're all like this community of dog and cat people.
Well, I got 2 German Shepherds. I got Gracie's now 11 years old and in good health, and I've got Buddy, who is going to be 6 in August. He's a black German Shepherd. Gracie is a bicolor, red and black. They are the looks of our life and the smile of the day. There's nothing that makes us more happy than these dogs. And, I've been a cancer patient now for the last 4 years dealing with ovarian cancer. Just came out of chemo just a couple weeks ago, and I'm just got more energy now, so I'm back into listening to what you have to say to be a better dog parent and prepare for all the eventualities of life that could, leave them in a very precarious and unfortunate situation. So I'm all ears.
Oh, fabulous, Francesca. And Francesca and I met many years ago when we worked together on several adopt-a-dog programs and other rescue and adoption programs. So I'm so glad you're here. You've been tucked in my prayers for many, many, many
Thank
years
you.
because you know that I knew.
Thank
But I
you.
know I can probably speak for the entire rest of the group that you're tucked in their prayers now too. So Francesca's here in New York as well. So Deb and I are in New York. If you can see the crowd here, Diane's in Arizona. Connie is in South LA, and Sherry is in upstate New York as well. So we're all, here together. And you just came on about a minute or two before Pleasantville hit. Where I live now. I used to live in Armonk. I live in Pleasantville, but it seems that I can drop off of a Zoom call in about a nanosecond, and I just didn't want that to happen. So I was telling everyone to hit the chat bar so you can save it, because then it'll send you a little note afterwards so you can keep those links, or you can always take a picture or whatever. That's what I usually do. But we are always talking about very pertinent things. We were talking, I don't know, Francesca, if you heard about that Connie is out in South LA, so she's had a lot of noise and a lot of fireworks from the protests, not the peaceful protests, but the nighttime protests. And so her dogs are really having a little bit of an issue. And then we went on to talk about how sometimes when we're watching the news, our dogs pick up on that negative energy. And how do we help them? Yep. How do we help them? Because as we all know, the dogs are always there to help us.
Absolutely. They feel the energy because you are their universe.
Yep.
And they follow your lead on everything. So yes, I can only imagine they sense something wrong because they're sensing it from our concern.
And to make sure that you have things in place and that you alert the people who are your, secondary and third dairy. I'm a big redundancy queen, the people who are going to take the dogs in case something happens, if you have to leave for an emergency with someone you love, or if it's you and someone you love would really appreciate having someone they could call to take care of the pets so they could be with you. I know when I broke my ankle, that's what my husband said, I'm not taking care of the dogs. And I'm like, holy Toledo. But it really made me put this program together in 2013 because really he does want to be with me, as all of our loved ones want to be with us. And it's not that they don't want to take care of our dogs. It's just that one too many things. So I always put
they can't be in two places at one time, right?
They can't. So I know I always say it's about a half hour, but I'd love to check in with everyone to see where they are in the scheme of things. So Diane, you said you've got a lot of the address the needs of your pet done, and many of the appoint caregivers that you're going to share with your caregivers going forward.
Right. Well, I've already shared with them. I just want to get their signatures on the paper. We've already all discussed the plan because it's a very tight-knit group of people, and we will all take care of each other's dogs, cats, whatever it is that's in our households at the time.
Right.
And I've got my signs up on the refrigerator and the bedroom door. And I just got the little wallet cards in the mail from you yesterday. So I'm going to put one and have Mark have one, but then I'm going to give the other two to my friends at Obedience in the hopes that will encourage them to put everything in writing as I'm doing.
And they can join us. Actually, I don't bite. You can tell them I don't bite. And I'm
I've
aggressive at all.
I've sent them the link. I've sent them the link twice. The one I think is actually going back to work, and like I said, my vet friend's been swamped.
Yeah. So, well, if you sign up for it, so you can tell them this, if they sign up for it, they can get the recording and don't have to participate. They can be lurkers, but at least they'd get the great information and understand the community energy that's here. So that's, if you can't make it, you always know you get the recording. So it's about signing up. That's the first step. And then attending, that's the second step. And then making the plan, that's the third step. So Francesca, what Diane was talking about is I'm a big proponent of putting 5x8 cards on your refrigerator, on your back door, your front door, on your dashboard of your car in the event something happens. So the EMS people don't have to look for who's going to care for your dog, and don't call animal care and control to take your dogs out of the house if you're alone, because they can't leave the dogs there. And now in COVID, we had spoken about this, that you really need to knock on the doors of your neighbors and offer to do it for them, so that they will then spontaneously offer to do it for you as well. Because, you know, what we learned from COVID, and what I learned to modify the MAP plan, was that you can't have somebody who's too far away to come to help with the immediate needs of the pet, because they might not be able to get here. We've never had anything like this, but now we do.
True. Yeah. So is it very much like the MAPS program, where you have something that a form that you fill out to be a part of this network, or are you basically just
this
tutoring us
network
how to pull it together ourselves?
This network is come as you can, and you'll get all the information, and you can do it yourself, or you can go on the website, Hamilton Law Mediation, and pull down all the documents that are there that you can fill out. So it's either, do it or not. One you pay for, and the other one is free, but I give all the information away. So DIY is very simple. But Connie actually connected me with her attorney, because she wanted to have everything fluidly connected from one to the other. And it worked out beautifully, and her attorney was thrilled to be able to speak to someone. I think I'm speaking correctly, Connie.
Yes, you are. In fact, Cynthia told me when she got all my documentation to put together an estate plan for my dogs, and I have a pet trust set up too with my investment guy. She said, "This is just fabulous." She said, "You don't know how many people I have, how many clients I have, for whom," because she is an estate planning attorney and has 2 other attorneys practicing with her. She said, "This is just fabulous, because now I can help my clients," and she has 2 dogs of her own.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's really interesting. I don't keep it to myself, because in my world, helping people plan for the care of their pets, the people who are going to become part of my tribe will get here. But if someone else is helped by that information, I'm okay with that, because it really is all about making sure that the pets don't go homeless. And Francesca, there's a number of groups that have pit bulls and things like that I have volunteered my time to help them make these. They haven't necessarily taken advantage of my request, because I call Guardians of Rescue all the time, and I think they think, I don't know what they think, but it's all about making sure that those dogs that are the hardest ones to find homes for have a home. And since they all work together, it really makes a great deal of sense. So Deb, you're all set? Your papers are done?
Yep.
Awesome. And Connie, I know you're all set. And I think you said you're going to update them soon. And the beauty of the MAP plan is it sits outside your will, and and the pet trust sits outside your will. So you don't have to call your trust and estate attorney and pay the money to update it. You update it at home, and you're just required P for publish to make sure that you send that updated MAP plan to your veterinarian, to the caregivers, and to your trust and estate attorney, because then they know what your next plans are.
Right. And one thing that I wanted to add on a different topic we touched on earlier, hurricanes. Even though I grew up in the Midwest and have lived in Southern California now for 51 years. I am a New York City, Northern New Jersey girl by birth and family. And in fact,
that's how we have such a connection.
Right. My hometown is Ridgewood, New Jersey. And I remember Hurricane Hazel in 1955 taking the steeple off the Old North Church in Boston. Let me share a story from Superstorm Sandy. I was up in Northern California, just west of, between Sacramento and the Bay Area, off Interstate 80, showing at a little town called Dixon. It's an agricultural town, but there was a very
I've been there.
Show. Me too. Right? There was a very nice show and 2 fantastic Wheaton judges. And This was right after I had finished my now grandma, Bammy, who's long retired from the show ring. She had just finished her championship in Santa Barbara, the end of that August before Superstorm Sandy, and we were working on her grand championship points. And the two judges we had, who were, you know, friends of all of ours, were both from Connecticut. Need I say more?
They didn't get there.
They couldn't get home. One of them, fortunately, had his wife, who is a longtime Wheaton breeder, back in Connecticut with the dogs, and she had her grown kids there, so she was okay. The other judge, who's a longtime terrier judge, was single, and so he couldn't get home to his dogs, and
Yeah.
you know, he had to call people and say, look, I can't get home, take care of my dogs.
And this is ad hoc without direction. So that's why
Right.
when I say they're the 6Ds, they really are the 6Ds: divorce, delay, disease, disaster, and disability, and dementia. I mean, these are things that are tangible, that we've all known people who have had pets, that something has befallen them, and we've all come to the aid of our countrymen. But this group wants to make sure the people who come to the aid of the countrymen know what to do when they come to the aid of their countrymen, because it really is, you want your pet to be taken care of as best as you can, the way you would do it if something hadn't happened to you. So that's what the MAP plan's all about. When I realized after I broke my ankle in 2013 that I was really up a creek, I figured I was not alone. And you know what? From the hundreds of people who've either hired me to do their MAP plan or come to some of these communities I've started off and on during the last 7 years, really and truly, it gives people the ability to know what to do, how to do it. And I'm hoping that all of you will take the little tidbits that I give you, and that you share with me, that then go into my tidbits, and I give you credit all the time as long as I can remember who did it. But I always tell people that this is the single most important thing you need to do for your pets, beside buy them food and give them fresh water, because they can't take care of themselves. It's the one thing they rely on you for. You know, they don't rely on you for much, but food, water, and next steps if something happens to you. And haven't we seen that over and over again in the newspaper reports, which tug at our hearts, for the cats and dogs who had to go to a shelter because their owners expired with no plan.
Sure.
You know, it really is
Absolutely.
important. So
There's been a
I'd
lot
love
of
for
that.
you. I'm sorry, Francesca, what?
No, there's been a lot of that with COVID, a lot of that.
Yes, it has. And, you know, the shelters were worried about people dropping off the dogs after they go back to work, and that may happen. But I think they were not really prepared for the amount of dogs that were going to come in because of the
Right.
death of the, or the long-term illness, because some people are in the hospital for 4 to 6 weeks. A dog can't live on its own for 4 to 6 weeks. And the neighbor you asked, because you thought you'd be home at 5 in the afternoon when you went in at noon, you know, some of them will do 2 weeks, but after that. So you really do need to be consciously aware of the plan you need to have in place that people know about, so that they can take those steps with you. So please do me a favor, if you can, share the links to those articles and the podcasts and things. And if you want, go to Why Do Pets Matter, my own podcast, and listen. Some great information there. I am so grateful you're all here. I'm so grateful you're doing the little steps that are going to make sure your pets are well cared for. And I look forward to having you all back here next Wednesday at noon. I'm going to continue to do this until you guys raise your hand and say, I'm not getting anything from this anymore. I'm hoping you are. And, you know, do me a favor and share it, because there is no pressure to buy anything. There's no pressure to do anything. This was the first time I gave links to articles, because I think that they really, if you share them on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, they're going to have people take a minute and say, wow, I never thought about that when I got divorced, or wow, I didn't think about that, you know, because I was, you know, of COVID. So please share as you can, and continue to join me, because I learn so much every week and bring it to you, and look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at noon. Last thoughts, everyone.
Deb, did you ever think, based on the story that I just related, have you ever spoken to a group of AKC judges about a situation like I just described?
I actually spoke to an entire group of AKC delegates about this. And they all thought it was a great idea. And I heard crickets after that to go to their clubs, to speak to their clubs. Thanks, Francesca. See you next week too.
Look forward to it.
Absolutely. And you stay healthy, my friend.
I definitely will. And thank you, Deborah, for sharing your calling with everyone. This is very important. And I know that, I just took it for granted that I was going to have my stepson and my stepdaughter and several other people in line to take the dogs, but you can't assume anything. So it is important to get all this stuff in writing and have other options for these dogs because they have no way to do it themselves.
Absolutely. And one of my friends actually told me that relieves the guilt if your stepson or stepdaughter really can't take it. They know who to give it to. Yep.
Exactly.
So we'll see you all next week.
Yes.
So, yes, thank you so much, Francesca. And Connie.
Thank you.
I have to say I am surprised all the time that national clubs, I've sent out many flyers, national clubs, I was at a terrier club, it was the Welsh Terriers, the ones that look like wire hair terriers, but they're bigger.
I think you were with the Airedales, because the
Airedales, that was it. Yep.
65
people came and they got phenomenal information because I gave them everything, and crickets.
Oh God, that's incredible. Well, I've tried to put forward, your name for the Wheaton National Club because we're at Montgomery County too, of course.
Yeah.
And no takers. Yeah.
It is so interesting. Yeah, it's so interesting to me because you know what our worst enemy is that we all, as I said, come to the aid of our countrymen, but nobody thinks about frozen semen. And nobody thinks about whether or not the person who takes your dog is someone you might not necessarily want to take your dog.
Right.
I mean,
thank you. It's a privilege to be a part of your group. I'm very happy to know all of you, and God bless you and keep you safe and well. And I look forward to connecting with everyone next week.
Great. Thank you, Francesca. And thank you, Sherry, for being here. Oh, she left. I'll write her a note. But thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to let you all go. Diane, take good care. Deb, take good care. Francesca just left, so she took good care. And Connie, thank you so much for all your important information, especially about the riots, because it's hard to talk about that and not get into the politics of it, but really focus on the animals. I mean, you were fabulous.
Connie, I want to meet you someday.
Oh, well, I have shown in Arizona, so.
Well, perfect. You let me know when you're coming to Arizona. We will go out for dinner.
Absolutely, Diane. And I don't know if Deborah told you, but I grew up showing English setters.
That's right.
Oh, well, how awesome. But I know, like I say, I definitely want to meet you, Connie.
Oh,
great.
Me too.
I want to meet all of us too. So someday I'm going to pull everybody together and we're all going to get together, not just on Zoom, but somewhere else.
Mark texted me, Deb, just if you haven't heard, Mark just texted me while I was on the call with you that they canceled Greeley and the National.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I have not heard that. And you know what? I will secretly tell you that some of the board members thought that would be the best thing to do. So the angels have provided, as I always say.
Well, we are one nano whatever millimeter from canceling at Montgomery County because we did a survey of our national membership. 38%, and this was really before things got bad with COVID. 38% said yes, and 62% said no. And now Montgomery County College, Community College, has said no external, no outside events to the end of the year. You got to find another site. So good luck with that. They got
yeah. So that's going to be the topic we're going to talk about next time. Remind me, girls, because that is a really important thing. Where do we take our dogs to exercise? Where do we go? And if we have, I mean, just because we can go because they leave them open, is that a smart thing for us to do? Because we're all over 21. We're in that age group. I hate to crush everyone, but I'm there with you. So we're in that age group.
Well,
and is it really worth it for? Yeah, I've got it too. A lot more now.
Me too. Now
really
that
worth
it's
it. Is it really worth it? I mean, for one dog show. I mean,
exactly, and that's what all of us have been in our chat groups talking about. and my friend Bonnie, whom I hope joins next week, and I always room together. And, you know, we talk every morning, and we said, ain't no way.
Right. No.
Yeah, well, and we were talking about it here, and one of the show secretaries was like, well, we can't stay in hiding forever. We need to come out, blah blah blah. And I'm like, would you be my steward? Because I wouldn't.
No.
I would not be the steward at a dog show right now.
No.
Yep. And see, this is what really is important. Just because you can hold it because the facility says you can hold it and you can do all the social distancing, will anybody come?
Right.
Well, and who's going to police this?
Exactly.
I mean, if I was the steward, I'd be having one. I don't know if you use them in obedience, Connie, because I haven't competed in obedience a long time. But in agility, we have those long ratchet gadgets that you pick up leashes with.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I've seen
That's
them.
what I'd be handing armbands out with, man.
Yeah.
From 6 freaking feet away.
Well,
And a face
confirmation,
mask.
I do both. I do both confirmation and rally and obedience. And at least in obedience, when the judge says stand your dog for examination and they go boom, boom, boom over the back, you're standing
Oh, of course you are.
at least 6 feet away, if not more. And then
Yeah.
you turn to your dog after the judge has backed off. But in confirmation, excuse
You're
me,
face to
where
face.
the judge is literally right in your face and show me the bite, please. I mean, come on.
Yeah, because
Right,
we
well-
have to have us show the bite because they were contaminating each dog by opening
Exactly.
everybody's mouth themselves. So you can't even say, well, I'll teach my dog to be a perfect stand stay, and a beautiful stack as we've seen in
Teach it
Wheatons and
to
Irish setters,
smile.
right? And
Teach it to smile and show its own teeth.
Right,
So now we're
exactly.
going to
That's
teach them how to open their
I have
mouth.
beards.
Well, and Connie, you'll enjoy this because the next statement the lady said to me, because when I said, and everybody would have to be wearing masks, and she said, oh my gosh, that's really going to set the protection dogs off. And I said to her, why? Why is that any different than somebody wearing a hat, a baseball cap, sunglasses?
Because when
You
they're trained, they have
train
masks
the
on.
dog.
Yeah.
Okay. But you train the dog for the circumstance. This is not
Yeah,
a
I know.
Schutzhund trial.
Right.
Okay. Part of going in the ring will become the handler wears a mask. I wear a mask working my dogs. Now they are used to masks.
Yeah,
You
mine
train-
are totally cool with because we
train
masks
your
and
dog.
Yeah.
It is not the dog's responsibility to protect the handler in a confirmation ring. It's the handler's responsibility to protect the dog.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, what is the matter with people?
Right.
Well, thank you for that
That's a whole
information,
nother
Diane.
day.
That's a whole nother. Let's write
That's a
down
whole other
topics
deal.
and we'll go into it. Thank you, ladies, so much. Everyone have a wonderful, healthy week. Stay healthy, and we'll see you all next week.
Yes,
Sounds
ma'am.
good. Take care. Thank you. Bye,
Bye,
Connie.
everyone.
Bye, Deb.